Oh, Gum Nation. Yeah, this virus has gone real crazy, apparently. I say apparently because, well, it's crazy. Not apparently do it, it's just flat out crazy. So, what's been going on? Well, I'll tell you. The whole world's in panic. I mean, first of all, the whole thing of how this virus works is kind of a little bizarre. Now, a lot of people talk about the virus, how deadly it is, but they don't tell exactly how and why, specifically. Now, I can't reveal my sources quite yet, but here's the lowdown. What you need to know. The first big thing about this virus is a little different. The reason why now this is my theory, based off of certain things I read and everything else. This virus, the reason why it's so weird on symptoms is because it lingers. And it lingers very well, and it gets caught in certain airwave stuff in your lungs. So the virus attacks your lungs. That's where it kind of sits there. And that's the reason why, I don't have symptoms, and then you do have a symptom because the virus, whatever, hits like a certain point of your lungs and all that, and then so forth. That's the reason why it's so bizarre, because since it lingers and it doesn't really do anything until later on, that's my theory. And since, I still believe, I straight up believe that this is a bioweapon that China used trying to win back Hong Kong and its mainland people out of the whole government revolution thing. Kind of stuff that happened right before this, like, hashtag free Hong Kong and all that. Yeah, that stuff. This is the aftermath of all. This is how China thought they can win with this, but it turned out to be more backfiring than anything else. That's kind of the lowdown. Because if you look right before this virus outbreak and everything else, you would have saw that Hong Kong was kind of really winning the war here, if you want to be direct. And I call it a war because, it was. It was a civil war. And the reason why this whole civil war started is because Britain gave back China Hong Kong as technical territories. But, however, due to negotiations, they had an extra 50 years for Hong Kong to be as a free state, so to speak, comparing to communist China. But China's like, nope, we're not going to honor that. So they start bossing around and everything else, and then the whole Hong Kong rebellion thing, and then you get the idea where that's going. The only problem is, however, that China was losing so much to where its own people, the mainland people in China, who want to support the communist government, were rebelling against the communist government. So, basically, in a sense, what they're going to do. They were losing troops, they were losing a lot of things. They couldn't win by normal means. So, if they release a bioweapon against, Hong Kong and everyone else, at certain points, no problem. Wipe out those people, because it's overpopulated anyways, why not? And plus, the whole entire idea that America could be sending troops there, woo! That's a whole nother can of worms, but anyways, that's what was going on right before this virus outbreak. And now, since we have this outbreak, the troops are no longer going there. The mainland Chinese can't really do anything. And the reason why it affects Americans is because most of our stuff comes from China, which is a big issue with me for years. Years, my friends. Because something like this could happen overseas, and we wouldn't know anything about it or have any clue what language they speak. And this happens. Okay? This happens. And we get screwed. Because not only is this virus came over here because people are traveling and everything else, that's normal. If anyone's played the Plague Incorporated game, mobile game, by the way, fun game, definitely worth the money. It pretty much has you in the driver's seat of, making a world virus that kills everybody. Okay? And I was hoping to make a meme about that, but whatever. The whole point is, since they released bioweapon, because no one really figured out how to cure it yet completely, and even if they did, it would take a long time to produce, which is reasonable. It's just, it shows how dated our medical system is comparing to the possible bioweapons we could be facing. Now, I'll venture to say there probably is some cures to a certain extent, but not really enough. Because the way that immunities work for us humans is we have to get something hit hard first, recover from it, and then we're kind of somewhat immune to some of the stuff afterwards, because the immune system's like, oh, okay, I know what this is, boom. Instead of like, what the hell is this? Oh, I don't know what this is. So, it's one of those situations that the human body is, and that's from biology. But the problem is, when humans start meddling in with that stuff, like bioweapons, for example, the body doesn't even know how to react at all. Which makes sense for this type of virus, because this is not a natural design. I mean, yeah, it has natural, probably had some bat-borne genes. I'm thinking something rabies related to an extent. I mean, I can throw out so many weird theories that could not even be possibly true, but the fact is, I'm actually throwing out these theories to get everyone thinking about it, and thinking of actual possibilities here. So, to break it down, some people say it's origin of certain bats and certain species. I think it's certain coding of DNA, to where if you put the right DNA specs with the RNA mixtures and put it into somebody and get results. Because I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to say confirmed or not, that some of the prisoners were used as bio-experiments for said weapons. Like, someone gets put on death row or whatever, they get shot with a bio-experiment just because free test dummy. Same thing happened the 1940s or so with Nazi Germany. They did more social and psychological experiments, but they also did medical experiments during the time. So, now we're in a situation of, since China can't produce, or didn't produce, a certain X amount of time, now there's going to be supply shortages across the world, so to speak. And with that being said, it's going to be a very shortage, so a lot of things are going to spike up in price or go down. Right now, gas is down because no one's really traveling, which is a good thing for me, personally, because I have to drive to work still. My building's not closed yet, so, But, however, it's working so much overtime, it's not even funny. So, the biggest problem that we have right now, this virus is probably going to take about maybe 2-3 months from now, today, to actually get resolved. But the problem is, the mental mindset that it throws on people is permanent. Like, as soon as a virus outbreak is called out or something like that, even if it's not even near close to this, they're going to be doing the same shenanigans again, and again, and again. Thinking that the virus will mutate or whatever, as if they're living as in the game, per se. Which is understandable. But at the same time, though, these people are just new to that game. There's been people out there doing it since Y2K and all that. So, you're competing with those guys, and those guys are very experienced and very dangerous if you don't negotiate properly. Which is probably why a lot of people are trying to get survival gear. That's great. But I don't think we're going to hit to that point. I hope not. But if we do, since there's going to be so many of those people, there's not going to be many people doing other things. Like, for example, learning how to do certain things that are more modern society, such as psychological stuff, and pretty much anything mechanical related. Any trade that right now is going to be more valuable if everything crashes. Because plumbing's always going to be a thing, electricity's always going to be a thing, to an extent. Both are extendable, but however, if it comes down to it, the first guy to really have problems is going to be your accountant guy. Because all he does is sit at a desk. He doesn't actually physically produce something. He does things pneumatically to where he produces something, yes. He does your taxes or whatever. But however, that's got replaced by automation with TurboTax here. So, get the idea. So really, since that's all automatic, unless you're like a big time company owner, and you need accountants to keep all that stuff properly in check, fine. But however, there's so few of those, to where the majority of people just buy $50 TurboTax, get it done for the year, that's it. And besides, a lot of people don't even make near the money to really, make it worth even to buy an accountant in the first place. So, I mean, there's probably people that still do just because it's, their friends or whatever. That's cool. That's great. Have a friend like that. I still believe it's good to have a friend like that just in case if other shenanigans pop up. But in the gesture of things, trades are going to be helpful because rebuilding society from the ground, from Stone Ages, is going to be very, very tough. And it'd be a good thing to get ahead, especially if you know welding and automotive. If you know those two things and know how to make gasoline, you're probably going to be rulers of the world if everything goes to shit. Anyways, Gum Nation heading out. Hopefully, this virus will be over soon to where everything back to normal. And that way, we can get back to fun things, I believe. And if all goes to crap anyways, well, guess what? I'm competing for world leadership. Have a fun day.